I'm going to go make some chunks load real quick. Hold on. That sounds so gross if you don't know what Minecraft is.
Really? Oh my!
Oh,
I
man.
feel like I want to use that now.
That needs context.
Excuse me for 10 minutes. I need to go make some
I need to make some chunks load, if you know what I mean. That's what I called in sick for. Way too many chunks loading.
That is so funny.
So it's been a couple of weeks, and we got Christine's people to talk to my people, and we finally worked out a scheduling scenario that worked out for all of us. And here we are again with another Disney Top 5. If you're unfamiliar with the series, this is the series where Christine and I walk around Disney World, the recreation here on MC Magic, and we talk about our top 5s of like everything. We've done vehicles and smells and quotes, and today we'll be tackling the top 5 views in Walt Disney World. Hi, Christine.
Hello.
So let's just jump right into it. Here we are. We're here in Tomorrowland, and we're going to start off with my top 5, and that is here at Astro Orbiter. Now, we actually have to go up Astro Orbiter to get to this view. Now, Astro Orbiter, if you've never been on it, it's the Dumbo-esque ride in Tomorrowland that's on top of another building. And it's great that it looks like it's becoming nighttime here on the server, because that's exactly what my view is. It is the view of Cinderella's castle from Astro Orbiter at night, and it is awesome. I've had the pleasure of getting to ride it, not during fireworks, but during the electrical parade. And
oh yeah, I was there with you.
You were at the parade, weren't you?
I ran to the parade.
Yeah, we split up there. You went to the parade. I watched the parade from afar. It was really cool. Just seeing the castle, even when like the parade wasn't going on. You can't see it here on the server because the draw distance is a little shorter, but you get a view of the castle all lit up. It's really great. And then it's sort of mixed with like these very vibrant colors of Astro Orbiter, because that whole idea is Tomorrowland uses this very old school like 50s aesthetic to it. I don't know. I love this view, and it makes me want to go on this ride only at night.
I can't say that I've actually experienced it, because I was down at the parade and, having a little moment to myself, because that parade was the first parade I ever saw back in like 1988. So the fact that they brought it back, I was like, forget it, Rob, go on Astro Orbiter. I need to go see this up close.
Yeah.
But now I kind of wish I had. I think it's something I'll make sure to do on my next trip.
Well, I'll say this much. You can't see the parade, like, at all. Like, you'll get, like, a float or two, like, sort of over across the bridge. So it's not great for that, but I can only imagine how cool it'd be for fireworks, although I don't know if it runs during fireworks. I guess it would be far enough from the hub for them to do that, right? But it's just viewing the castle is really awesome. And it was tough because for me, it was a decision between this view of the castle or a view from the contemporary of the castle at night. But either way, like seeing the castle at night from afar is really cool because it just sticks out so much.
Yep.
All right, let's head on over to your number 5. Oh, wait, we can't. It doesn't exist on this server. So let's go head somewhere that sort of vaguely looks like your number 5. Okay, so here we are at water.
Is that that's
number
not...
5, Christine's number 5, water.
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's specific water.
Okay. That water right there.
Well, I mean, yes, I guess if you close your eyes and whatever. Anyway, my number 5 is the man-made lake at Coronado Springs Resort, specifically at night. And it's kind of a view you can enjoy from anywhere within the resort. Personally, I like doing it relaxing. They have this bar that has, obviously drinks, but also little things to eat. And it's a nice area to relax, and it's right next to the lake. Coronado Springs is a notoriously quieter hotel of theirs because it's where a lot of conferences are held. So there's not a lot of kids there. Not as heavy with the Disney theming as some of the other hotels. But I really enjoy it a lot, I think, because of that. And I think that adds to the atmosphere. The lighting is absolutely beautiful at the resort at night. And I mean, this lake is pretty big. I was looking it up to see if there was a name. Apparently, there's no name. But I also
Water lake.
the water lake. It's apparently 22 acres, which is pretty darn big for a man-made lake. And I don't know. I think it's really beautiful. I've walked around the entire thing when I've stayed there, and just that in itself is a nice, relaxing, quiet walk. And if you're ever looking for some downtime, whether you're staying there or you want to just take a trip over there, I'd recommend it. It kind of takes you out of everything for a bit.
Yeah, I think you're weird because I am one of the people who don't see the big deal about the Coronado because it's not themed. But I will give it.
You're not alone because I've spoken about this to many people and they all think I'm weird.
Yeah, it's the unofficial conference hotel, like you mentioned. That's where people go to stay when they're there for business. But I will give it that Disney, regardless of what they do, they put a lot of quality into it. I've stayed at the Coronado, and it's a really nice hotel.
There's also an Aztec temple at the pool. Don't forget that.
Yeah, okay. I know. They've got it. They've got that. They've got that going for it. And then they've got Water Lake. But yeah, it's an interesting number 5 to have. I think what will be interesting is how many of our top 5s are at night. Just by making it night, things look better a little bit. Actually, looking at the list now, none of mine. Well, okay, some of mine are at night.
Yeah. Well, also I think Disney's just does an amazing job with lighting. I know that's a weird thing to say almost because it's a minor thing to focus on. But
see, it really isn't because, if you think about it, Disney, especially when Disneyland was being made and then Disney World there's such a sense of cross-pollination between the parts of the company. He had so many people who worked on movies, working on the parks, and lighting and film is a super important thing to do, and color and things like that. And so it's no surprise that Disney would be really good at lighting, almost as if they were lighting a film set.
True.
Let's jump to my number 4, which is kind of at night, kind of maybe. So here we are at Mexico at night. I just thought of another view, but I can't say it because it's not my view, and that'd be cheating. But let's go inside Mexico to where my view is, and that is okay. We're going to touch upon the view that I was thinking of at some point. It's right here. Once you walk in through the gates and you walk out here, and you see this sort of little Mexican village at night. Of course, it's not always. It's always night, even though it isn't always night because it's indoors. And it's made to look like it's night. And I just really dig this view because if you look at it, this is a small version of what they do at the Magic Kingdom, which is that it brings you in, but it splits you up on the sides here so that you don't get that immediate view you're supposed to get. And then it's this sort of guided experience where then you walk through the door and then you get the view that, is the payoff and is this little village. And it's great because I'm a big fan of immersion. That's sort of why I love Disney. It's the idea of escaping to another world, and Mexico does this in such a small space, but in such a complete way that this is one of the few places where I wouldn't go as far as to say I feel like I'm in Mexico, especially because I've never been to Mexico, so I don't know what that feels like, but it doesn't feel like I'm, in this giant hangar-sized area, It feels like I'm somewhere else, and I don't know, it sells it for me really well.
Yeah, this is actually a really good pick that I kind of wish I had thought of. I feel like this pavilion always had an impact on me, especially as a kid, because like you said, you walk in and it's this huge space, but it really feels like you're outdoors.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be that outdoor Mexican festival, and then, there's that boat ride, and it's you're, out there next to this riverbank, and yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I love actually dining inside here, for the restaurant that's in here, is because I just enjoy the atmosphere and the view. And when you dine, you can see the boats going around on that little ride. I think everything about it, yeah, I have to agree. They really make it feel like a very transformative kind of experience. You kind of forget that you just stepped out, you stepped from hot Florida, in a bunch of other countries, and then you just walk into here, and
Yeah.
it's definitely really, really cool.
I think you nailed it with one of the things you said in there is that even though it may not feel like I'm actually in Mexico, it does kind of, to me at least, feel like I'm actually outside. Like I can distinctly remember times where I've walked out of this pavilion totally forgetting that it's actually like, 1 in the afternoon and it's super bright outside. It's just,
Yeah.
I just forget about that completely. And like a side video game reference, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but for some reason this just feels like the sort of space I would expect in an Assassin's Creed game.
Are you thinking because of like
Maybe.
the festival stuff?
Yeah, maybe it reminds me a little bit of like the games in Italy.
Yeah, because it has like the little shops.
Yeah.
And all of it. Yeah, I get it.
I'm gonna get kicked out of Disney is what I'm trying to say, because I'm gonna start climbing around the next time I go to Mexico. So
try to assassinate poor Mexican Donald.
Right, I'm just gonna start jumping on them.
What makes this pavilion so great is that
Mexican Donald?
Yeah, you can come here and meet Donald in his full 3 caballeros outfit, and I love it.
Yes. All right, let's move on to your number 4, which is not in a theme park and is actually, well, we'll split them up, but it's kind of like one of mine too. It's, well, whatever. Let's just go there. Let's just go there and talk about it. And so it's no surprise that one of the list is here at the Contemporary. I mean, this is probably the most iconic, I would argue, resort in Disney World. So there's, it's no surprise that there'll be a top view there. But this is your top view, so let's hear it. What about this resort is the top view?
So for me specifically, it is when you take the what I'd call the local monorail, the one that actually like stops in through the resorts.
The hotel loop.
Yes, the hotel loop, but I call it the local. I'm sorry, it's the New Yorker in me. Okay.
Okay.
So I love when you're coming through the Contemporary on the monorail. Kind of the whole experience, approaching it. I think some people don't realize at first that they're about to go through the actual resort, and I always love seeing people's reactions who have like never done the monorail ride before because you can kind of see them go like, wait, what? We're like going through the resort. And I just love coming through, and you're all the way up there and you're passing by and you can look down and you see all the restaurants and the store and everybody coming in and out of their floors and the rooms, and like, I don't know, there's just something really cool about seeing it from that point of view. And you get this nice kind of overview of what the Contemporary is. And I don't know, it makes so much sense with the theming that the Contemporary of all places would have the monorail going through it. It just kind of adds to like that futuristic, combination of sci-fi and transportation, and I don't know, but I love the view, and I love kind of people watching as I'm going through there. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yes. I can't expand on that any further because one of my top 5s has to do with the Contemporary, and as I'm sitting there gathering my thoughts, I realize everything I said is what I would be saying for my top 5 for that, so I'm going to hold off until we get to mine. So I will just say yes. Very well spoken. Let's move on to my number 3, which is actually back at Epcot, and nope, that's French. I was going to say a French word, and it's not France, so let's axe that. Guten Tag from Germany. We're here at Germany at the World Showcase, and this is my number 3 top view at Walt Disney World. It is of Spaceship Earth. Now, you are going to have something very similar, so I'm not going to touch upon it, but like for me, it's really just simply like dusk. Spaceship Earth from across the lagoon is just a beautiful sight. Again, similar to the castle, you can't really see it here because of the draw distance, but on a nice clear day in Florida, you can see clear across the lagoon and across Future World, and you can see Spaceship Earth. And I think it's just one of those great views because it gives the park a sense of scale, because unless you're coming in through the French entrance, you're kind of gonna go through Future World anyway, and so you can look at that place and think about how you were there and you've just walked all the way over and get a sense of how big the park is. But on top of that, it's just like a very serene view looking at the water, because usually at dusk, it's like sort of pre-illumination, so all the barges are out there and people are like eating, and they're generally calmer as a whole around World Showcase anyway, because they're not rushing off to any attractions. And just the sort of space between Germany and Italy is where I seem to find myself during that time of day whenever I'm at Disney. So I really like that view.
Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting. We had a lot that were very similar, but not on the same spots on the list, so we can't just double them up like we normally do.
Kind of slightly different views or different things we're focusing on.
Yeah, it's very, and that's what's cool about it, is because I mean, not to just get too focused on how awesome Disney is, as if that's not what this whole thing's about, but they are able to approach an area or a scene with such attention to detail that you can appreciate it differently from different angles in just completely different ways. And that's something you're not going to get off of like the parachute rides at, Great Adventure or whatever. But yeah, okay. So let's move on to your number 3, which is not here at all.
No.
All right, so here we are at Main Street, and take it away, Christine.
That was dramatic. So one of my favorite views is the top of the Main Street
tank engine. The Main Street tank engine station. Right.
I was going to say Tame Station.
The Tame Station, Tame Street train station.
Yes.
Okay.
Say that times fast. Top of the Main Street train station. There we go. And looking down Main Street to the castle. It's something that I love to do if I can buy time to do it for 5 minutes when I first get into the Magic Kingdom for my trip. I will, because I like it to be my first view of the castle. I feel like everyone always has like anticipation for the first time you see the castle, whether it's your first trip or your 10th trip.
Yeah.
And I feel like I really like this particular view because you're not just in the hustle and bustle moving down Main Street, but you're kind of watching all of the action. You're watching everyone else kind of come through and sharing that experience with a bunch of people. And I don't know, it's just it's kind of a nice all-encompassing view of, I guess, one of my favorite things to see when I'm there, and something I look forward to the most. I think that no matter how many times I've been, there's this like excitement and just about like seeing the castle again, because then I feel like when I see it, I'm home, like as soon as I see it, it's like, right, I'm here again. So I don't know.
See, for me, that's the carpets at the bus terminal.
Yeah, but you could literally be home.
Yeah.
And looking at carpets.
Yeah, so but those aren't the same carpets. Let's not get into the carpet discussion again. But the carpets are totally unique to Disney. We all know that. It's an accepted truth. I will say this: I don't think I've ever been up here in real life. Maybe I have. If I have, I don't remember it. So I might have been. I might have been on the train once. I don't have a lot of distinct memories. I know. The next time I go, I need to get up here. You know what it is? It's I fall in with the rest of the crowds whose first instinct is gotta get to Tomorrowland. Gotta rush down Main Street, get to Tomorrowland, gotta get my Space Mountain on.
That's why I feel like I said, if I can take the few minutes to do this, I do. It's especially, it works a lot better if you're getting there for like park opening and it's a little bit quieter and you're not in so much of a rush. I would highly recommend taking the train, even as an adult. Like, you can even just ride the whole loop if you want, if you're not really taking it to one section or another. And it's kind of nice. You kind of do see like some different areas of the park that obviously you can't see from walking around, and the cast members who run the trains always have a lot of interesting facts, and I don't know, I just kind of like the experience. I'd recommend it next time you're there.
I need to try it. Yeah, my next Disney trip's going to be all the things that I haven't done in a while or at all, so definitely. Okay, let's move on to my number 2, which is back at the Contemporary, so I can expand a little bit on the yes. So here we are at the Contemporary. This is where my number 2 view is, but it's not from the monorail. It's actually up here from the upper floors of the atrium area, and it's looking down over the balcony. This, because the blocks are so wide, you don't get as good of a view, but here, let me peek around. This is sort of what you see when you're looking over that that edge border, and it's very much for many of the same reasons that you mentioned, Christine. It's sort of like, I'm a big fan of the idea of Walt's Epcot, you know, even though I don't think it would have actually worked today. I like that that's what he was trying to do, build this futuristic city, and I think not Epcot, but the Contemporary is probably one of the closest things you get to that experience. You know, here you have this big building where people are sleeping and spending their nights in, that also has restaurants, that also has shops, that also has a monorail that just goes right through it, so people can take it to and from there, and it, you know, goes out to a dock, and it almost feels like a miniaturized version of a little city, and it's very futuristic, even though I do think the mural's a little aged and could do with some replacing. The rest of it just looks great and is just this great feeling, and I have great memories of the one time I stayed at the Contemporary. It was from up here, and I remember really enjoying just looking down and like people watching and just seeing like this little tiny version of a city function. It was great.
And yeah, if you want to people watch outside of the parks, I think this is the best place to do it.
Yeah.
It's just so, I don't know, fascinating.
Yeah, I think the design for the lower level is beautiful in the way it's got all these different places. Like, I think of the shops and the restaurants and how when you're down there, they feel very segmented and broken apart, so you're not like blending into the others. But if you look from the up top, it's, you know, like this very nice and open design. So I really like it. I enjoyed it a lot. It's nice. They need to replace that mural though. The mural's super 70s.
I can't even remember the mural very well. So.
It's just take the 70s and compress it into art and put it on the wall. That's the mural. Something cool would be great. Thanks, Disney. Okay, let's move on to your number 2, which is back in Epcot. And I don't know any words from here, so I can't do a cheesy transition.
Shukran, even though that's not a hello or anything, but that's a word.
It's just a word. Okay, let's do it.
No, it actually means thank you.
Okay,
But
Shukran.
anyway.
So, where are we?
We are in Morocco, in Epcot.
Yep.
And I particularly like standing here, or a little in between Morocco and Japan, I guess is a better way to put it, for illuminations. Unfortunately, as we were discussing, some of the walls here in Minecraft are actually a little higher than they are in real life. So, Rob's using his wonderful fly ability to what the view would be like. Not a lot of people, I think of this area for illuminations. People seem to have so many debates on where the best view is.
Which is silly, right? Because everybody knows it is either Mexico or Italy, right? I mean,
right. I mean, and some people will say Germany, and some people will say Japan. I mean, there's always a huge debate, and honestly, I think it's hard to not have a good view. Yeah. That's me personally.
Except that funky, like, empty area between the UK and France. Let's be honest. Maybe, 2 stops there.
Maybe just that. But,
wait, no, I've stopped there. It's good. No, that's good.
I feel like a lot of it is all about preference. So personally, I kind of like that people don't think of Morocco or, you know, that little path between Morocco and Japan, because it's always a little bit quieter. It's a great spot if you want to get a view right up against the lagoon, because you rarely have to fight for space over there, because like I said, not a lot of people think about it. I particularly like it because I like the lighting in that area at night. I think it does a great job of, I mean, you do really get to see all of the illuminations really well. You know, especially that point where they start lighting up certain countries, like later on in the show when it's getting all dramatic with the music. You can see that very well from that section.
Well, I was wondering, because I mean, Morocco's one of the 2 that doesn't light up for that, so I'm wondering if it being darker makes it look nicer everywhere. Like,
right, and you don't feel like you are missing out on Morocco lighting up because it's behind you, because it's not.
right.
So I kind of like that. It's no mystery to anybody who knows me that Illuminations is like my favorite
'Cause
fireworks
it's the
show,
best.
possibly my favorite like show,
Oh,
in all of the world. Like I said, I think almost anywhere is nice, but if you want a little bit of quieter, like you said, you don't have to worry about like Morocco lighting up and not seeing it, like you kind of see everything else really well. I feel like this has been my favorite spot to take photos.
It's a nice spot. I like it. Okay, let's head over to my number one, which is actually in a park that neither of us has. Which neither of us has visited yet for this list, and that is over at the Animal Kingdom. Just kidding. There are no good views in the Animal Kingdom. I take that back. The Animal Kingdom has plenty of good views. We just don't like them, apparently. All right. Here we are, the Tower of Terror. Another one of those things, sort of like the Contemporary, where I feel like there are a lot of views that you can pick out and highlight as being really good. My number one view is here, and it is actually right here where I'm standing, which is when you make that turn on the queue and you see the straightaway and you see this sort of abandoned, empty fountain that usually, like, depending on the time of day you go, has like smoke settling at the bottom, and it's got all these vines, and it's a very weird view. I know it's not like a conventional view that you'd expect, like the castle, but for me, this is my favorite view because this is one of my favorite themed rides, and I feel like this is where the theming really kicks in. And because it has absolutely nothing to do with the attraction, you're not inside, you're not in the lobby, it's just part of the queue, yet it sort of is what sells it for me that I'm not at a ride at Disney World, I'm at this weird, creepy hotel, because it has little details like this that, you know, I think other theme parks would have just skipped on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really... For me, that is kind of a weird choice for a top view.
Well, here's the other thing, by the way, and if you look up while you're walking there, you get this cool, like, low-angle view of the actual tower itself. I've taken photos from down there. It's cool. It's not the view, but it's part of the view.
It's not the view. Yeah, because the view would be walking down the boulevard, I would assume.
That view. Well, that is one of the views, yeah. I would assume the view would be the view that you're going to do next.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have a whole lot to say about this. This is one of those weirder ones where I'm probably not going to get a lot of support on, because I don't think a lot of people would list this one. But for me, there's just something about the combination of all the details here that totally sells this for me. And your number one is here too, and this is one you can't actually really get right now from a player's perspective, so I'm going to fly up to it while you explain what it is.
So, my top view is at the top of the Tower of Terror, when you get that nice full drop, and when you're at the very, very top and they open the doors and you can see the entire park.
And then drop.
And then you drop. That is, like, absolutely my most favorite view. Again, not the castle or other things I think people would expect, but I think it's a combination of view, the situation that you're in. I mean, there's just a lot of things going for it. Yes, as other, views, and we've talked about in the past, at nighttime, it is a little bit better. Though, I mean, I think it's great no matter what time of day. I remember the very first time I ever went on the ride, the doors opened, and you really hang there for probably at least 2 seconds, I would say. Maybe 3, but at least 2 seconds. It's not like it's just like open the door and drop.
Right.
And I remember in that 2 seconds looking out and going, whoa, like, that's really pretty. And then at the same time, it clicked in my brain that I was about to drop. So it was like this moment of like, wow, this is so nice. I'm really scared. So I think that that's always kind of stuck with me. And if you're brave enough to really open your eyes and take a look around when you're up there, it is kind of a very pretty view. You get to see far and wide the reaches of the park, if you really look, for a whole 2 seconds. Um, so for me, that is like my quintessential view. Is the one that I love the most. And again, it's kind of that duality of like, wow, look at this really beautiful view, and I'm also really anxious about what's about to happen. Yeah.
And it's cool because it's one of the few attractions where it's the tallest thing in the park, and it's also you're there. The tallest thing in the Magic Kingdom is the castle, but you don't go to the top of the castle. The tallest thing in Epcot is Spaceship Earth. I guess you kind of go to the top, but you don't get to see anything because it's all indoors. Yeah. But to be in here and then see and look down on it has this sort of, I guess, almost like an opposite forced perspective effect, where it's just like you realize how how high up you are because of how small everything down there is. And then, like you said, you just drop, and it's great at night. It's fantastic. Everything about this ride has a great view. Like, you could argue a great view when you walk in that lobby, the great view when you walk into the basement area. The only view that isn't great is
just walking down Sunset Boulevard towards the Tower. I love taking that picture. I feel like it's just so iconic.
Again, especially at night, because it's got that vivid green sign.
Right.
It's gorgeous.
And even just watching other people enjoying my favorite view is pretty nice. Seeing you can see those doors open from down below and see people freaking out and screaming, and I love it. I think it's great.
It's fun. All right, so there you have it, our top 5 views at Walt Disney World. What I want to know is, what are your top 5 views in Walt Disney World? Plenty of awesome places, plenty of picturesque moments, so I can't wait to see what you guys have to say. I would also like to hear what ideas you guys have for what top 5s we should do next. This was actually one of the ideas that was submitted by a viewer. We've done other ones submitted by viewers. They're usually the more interesting ones, so feel free to let us know in the comments below. If you want to follow either of us on the social networks, I'm Rob Plays on Twitter and Rob Plays That Game on Facebook and Instagram, and you are?
I am Big Bruin Evil on Twitter, and if you want to hit me up on Instagram too, I'm Ivy Winter. So.
And you also have a fashion blog with fashion.
I do, called 2 Girls, 1 Outfit. So you can check that out.
There you go. .com.
.com.
Not
dot org,
net or dot
.us.
co.uk or .cc. .com. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. And if you want to help out the channel, the best way you could do so is by telling a friend. Maybe they will enjoy it as much as you do. And also, one last plug. I have now started putting all of these segments together in an hour-long podcast every week. It's on iTunes, or it's on my website at robplaysthatgame.com. So if you want to sort of get all of this in podcast form, you could go over to either of those and do it there. Now you have options. Anyway, thanks for joining me, Christine. I can't wait until we could get these schedules mishmashed again so we could do another one.
I know. I'll talk to my people.
Get your people in line. I'm not. Don't let them hear that I said that, but get them in line. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Buongiorno. That is Italian.
What you thought it was French?
I was thinking of bonjour, which is French.
Because they're very similar.
They're so similar, right? Stupid brain. Stupid. You killed it. That was such I had transition gold and I threw it in the garbage.
It's not an elite?
No, I changed my mind.